So in this segment, I want to discuss Starmer's kind of battle against Nimbys and things like that, and we'll be looking at Starmer's kind of past statements on certain things. But I found this quite interesting because Starmer's talking about, we're on the side of builders, not blockers, etc. Which, again, there are really big problems with planning permission in the UK in terms of just getting things like extensions done and building more housing because it can get blocked by people who don't want to see their house values come down. And, there are people who block bits of infrastructure because they don't want to see energy pylons go across the countryside, despite the fact that we need that stuff in order to, battle climate change. We need wind turbines and stuff. Just because you can't sit in a field that's got as much green as everyone else, I don't get it. Nimbys really frustrate me, sorry. But let's have a listen to what Coates has to say, because he's a little bit misleading, I think, in this video.
So it's not about the government's proposals. That all this week we've seen Keir Starmer roll out a number of things to make it easier to build, potentially, some would say, at the expense of environmental obligations. We'll wait to see some of the detail on that. But something surprised me today, Sophie. It rather shocked me. And I'm not easily shocked, as you know. Keir Starmer wrote an article in the Daily Mail in order to talk about his...
See, that should be it. That should be the shocking bit, writing in a rag like that. But this is the same dude who writes in The Sun as well, so...
His proposals, and, here it is. It's the kind of thing that we see quite a lot. But in this article, over the first 6 paragraphs, he absolutely goes for, roasts and slates an individual former Green Norfolk councillor, a computer scientist, who, sure, has taken a few road schemes to the High Court and is challenging a carbon capture scheme up in Teesside, but zeroes on this one individual. And he talks about their ideological blind spots and the fact that they're doing this with no chance of winning, and they're not doing it for themselves. They're doing it for themselves and not the country, and blames them for wasting taxpayers' money, and just really zero identifying this figure, the names in the paper. And
so from what I can see, and I haven't got the full thing in front of me here, but I don't think he actually names the individual, and there is a community note to that effect. The Prime Minister did not identify the individual in this Daily Mail article, as shown in the screenshot shared by Sam Coates. Coates did name the individual, so he figured out who it was aimed at, and I guess it wouldn't be too hard to understand it, given how much detail Starmer goes in that op-ed.
And I think I was just surprised that the Prime Minister, a person with big status, big clout, using a major newspaper, should single out a single individual and sort of basically paint a target on their back and going, look, world, he's the problem, when actually it's a massive kind of structural problem, a legal and political problem, and it's much more than about one man.
So if they could change, the rules around this kind of stuff and say, like, legal, judicial actions like this, these kind of reviews around infrastructure projects, go straight to the High Court, to be dealt with as soon as possible within, say, a year or something like that, so they can actually get on with the project. That would make sense. That way you can actually change it so people who have legitimate issues with certain infrastructure projects can get that across. And if the High Court agrees with them, then great. If not, then, you've only wasted a year, I guess. Make it so it's a fast-track process.
So I talked to Andrew Boswell, the person that the Prime Minister attacked. Here's what he said.
I think it's a very dangerous thing of the Prime Minister to do, and he shouldn't have approached it this way.
Why do you think it's dangerous for Keir Starmer to do this?
Well, he has named me. I'm just an ordinary person, member of the public. I go about my life on that basis. I don't have a vast media team to protect me. I don't have other protections. I mean, actually, it's quite pathetic bullying of the Prime Minister. And actually, he underrates us. If he thinks he's actually going to put me off by naming me in public, he completely underrates what the environmental movement is about. Because
ultimately, those environmentalists are quite brave because they know some of their actions will probably lead them into jail or being detained. So, they do this because, this is their cause. This is the thing they care about the most. So for Starmer to go down this route, like, he doesn't name him in the article, which is fair. And we've seen Starmer kind of call out the Greens, things like blocking, blocking infrastructure and pylons and wind turbines and such in their actual constituencies. One of the big problems the Green Party has is that it's full of Nimbys. And that's the thing that's one of the things that's going to hold the Green Party back a lot. And so Starmer, talking about Nimbys, he says, I'm backing the builders, not the bloggers. And here you got Starmer in 2015 handing over petitions against HS2 in Parliament today with my neighbouring MP, Tulip Siddiq. So clearly he was on the side of the blockers because this is the guy putting in petitions against things. This is a guy who was against the third runway in Heathrow, and now suddenly he supports it. So for this argument of he's against, he's against the blockers. He was on the side of the blockers when it was politically convenient to him. Now it's politically inconvenient. Now he's attacking them because that's who this man is. Once you become politically expedient to him, he's going to shiv you, and that's what he's done with this group of people. He talks about a third runway in Heathrow. Suddenly he backs it. It's crazy. It's crazy business. So he is one of the blockers. And, he talks about for 14 years the Tories let Nimbys and zealots clog up our legal system and stop the government building the infrastructure Britain needs. I won't stand for it. As part of our plan for change, we're taking on the blockers to get Britain building again, which, again, look, I don't, it's we need infrastructure. We need to be able to sort that out. But again, this is the same guy, as I said before. This is only in 2020, a few years ago now. Congratulations to the climate campaigners. There is no more important challenge than the climate emergency. This is why I voted against the Heathrow expansion. And now I've seen people, I've seen the usual suspects get bored of naming them, talk about how, you need to get growth going, otherwise you're going to lose the election. And so any kind of minor gains you get through your green plans would get scuppered completely by the Tories. But if you're one of those people who actually do believe that, there's no bigger issue, or one of the major issues we have is the climate emergency, it's not going to matter to you whether Labour get growth or not, because they're going to do it on the back of just massive pollution. If you're in America, would you back Donald Trump drilling for more oil and burning up more fossil fuels? Because that will help you get growth. Like, are you guys that dense? Like, do you not care about anything else other than keeping the Tories out? That you would become the Conservative Party, or arguably in this case worse, because you're opening up a situation where Sadiq Khan could mount a legal challenge. The sitting Labour mayor could set a legal challenge against the sitting Labour Prime Minister, and so Sadiq Khan would be in their sights as a blocker. You literally have Andy Burnham saying that we want more runways up in Manchester, and the north of England. So why don't you just put a third runway up there? Surely that makes more sense. And you could have more flights going out of Manchester or, the north of England, which will actually help them. And it will actually mean that people from the north of England don't have to travel south all the time if they want to do international travel. Wouldn't that make more sense? I don't know, guys. I'm a bit lost on this stuff. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.